Okay, I think I'll tell you about the blessing of the bad back. Seems to be the perfect location. Seems to be just about right. So, in 1993, I hurt my back. Nobody believed me until 2000. Rightfully so. I don't blame anybody. No, not at all. My doctor was too good, as a matter of fact, and never ever gave me opioids. And eventually put me out to pasture after the failed back surgery. Her and my union and my employer. But anyway, I broke my back in 93. Worked well. After the back surgery, my doctor said to me, she said, "We're so sorry, Mark, we didn't know." And I said, "I didn't know what?" She said, "We didn't know you had a bad back." I said, "I've been telling you for 7 years." She said, "Mark, you work most of the time. You take your kids somewhere every day. You usually volunteer there. You coach soccer. You coach hockey. You even played a couple of games of hockey just last year." Opportunity presented itself for a little pickup league, needed a goalie, right? And I knew I was on the way out, so I was just going to throw one, at least something in my bucket list, right? So anyway, I did play a couple of games. About 10, I guess. Had a lot of fun. Happy I did it. So, I got my strength from my grandmother, actually. My grandmother battled illness and made sure that I was looked after until I was finished college, trade school. I'm forever grateful to her. She was the person in my life who showed me what strength is, real strength. And forever thankful for that, forever thankful for her taking me in and looking after me for about 4 or 5 years, actually. Unbelievable. Story for another day. But as a matter of fact, during that time, my wife said, "You're wearing our son out, right?" I said, "I'm wearing him out. Can't be wearing him out." So eventually I became convinced to take him to see the doctor. When I got to the doctor's office, I told him when I got in there, I said, "Yeah, my wife says that I'm tiring him out, right? I'm wearing him out." They both laughed, the doctor and his receptionist assistant or whatever. So the doctor was checking him out for a few minutes, and then he says, "Just what do you have him doing?" So I thought about it, and I said, "He does Kung Fu kickboxing at Twin Dragon 3 days a week. He does house league hockey 2 days a week. Gymnastics 2 days a week. And I think he does 2 power skating a week." They said, "Okay, time to slow down." Anyway, we did. We kicked out the kickboxing, actually. Kept all the hockey and everything, right? And the gymnastics. And anyways, truly was a blessing. It's a prayer shawl. It really, I've examined my life because of it deeply. As a matter of fact, in 2000, I was going blind. Well, I did go blind, technically and legally. I could not read the newspaper with a magnifying glass. Truth. So, I knew I was on the way out, but nobody else did. I've been complaining about my back for 7 years at that point. I wasn't going to complain about my eyes, too. But I did go see an eye doctor, and yes, that is what it was. And yes, they did replace my 2 corneas. And yes, I was dying from the reaction to the pain from my back, and that's how they knew I had a bad back. So that's how I got the mechanical fusion and everything, right? The guy beside me to the left, he cried every day. He had liver problems. He wasn't going to make it. The guy across from me was in and out of the wheelchair. He was back for his annual checkup or something, but he was fine. He just was never going to walk again. Anyway, I am so lucky. I can't say it enough. I am so, so lucky, and I cannot say it enough. Thank you, Lord. Anyway, so in 2000 also, I got set up with an interview with a union company. And when I got there, I was kind of hoping to get an office job, even though I was blind. I didn't know how I was going to swing it. I just went, right? Because I had an interview. Anyway, I got lucky because starving, man. I needed to work. So when we're in the office for a bit, me and the project manager go out to look at a job or two. And when we get the first job, I meet the foreman, a couple guys, whatever. And the project manager and I go over to the job box where the drawings are set out. When we get there, just as we get to the drawings, the foreman comes over and says, oh, I cut myself. So away goes him and the project manager. It looked like maybe a couple of stitches were due or something. And I whipped out my magnifying glass. I quickly looked at the drawings. And when the project manager came back, I said, hey, man, blah, 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 pretend, I did have experience. I did know what I was doing and everything, right? Just, he didn't know he used magnifying glass while he was gone to help out our buddy there. So, ended up getting hired and getting in the union and everything. And then I got my buddy in who used to work for me for several years and for another company with me for several years. And got him in the union, signed his apprenticeship down on Church Street and everything. Really, it was a great experience. To be honest with you, the union offered me a home. I was too stupid to realize it. I see a place for unions, man. People got to earn a wage, right? Anyway, I don't want to get political on you. So my back, after all the surgeries and everything, I came home and I had 12 weeks off before I went back to work, actually. And then when I went back to the union, they gave me light work, doing paperwork and doing as-built drawings and going priming around ceiling, looking through ceilings and doing as-built and stuff like that for a little while. So I'm very grateful to the company as well. All of the people in the union, man, I'm telling you, it was a very good experience. You get to know each other's families and everything, man. You hear the stories and you have your ups and downs, and it's a great experience. And you make a decent dollar while you do it and you work hard. But anyway, enough of that. So, after the surgeries, I got a gym, and it was one of those ones with the weights in the back, and you got to keep moving the pin to change the weight. So, I must have went down and looked at that every day for 2 weeks. And I said, no way. So I'm not bending down and picking that up, moving that pin. No. Finally, one day I said, you know what, bro? You're supposed to be exercising, right? Consider it part of the warm-up. I won't tell you what else I said to myself. I can be a little like I'm in the locker room sometimes. But yeah, I gave myself a little kick in the butt. Started using it. And then I got the Bowflex. And I had to design my own program. Because I can't lift free weights. I can't lift things. I do a lot of pull downs. I even do modified push-ups, bench presses. And I do a lot of stretching, right? My shoulders were frozen because my back was bad for so many years. My shoulders were frozen. They didn't get broken free until around 2007 or something, around 2007. So I had my surgery in 2000, but my shoulders were still frozen until 2007. And with my Bowflex, I would go from roughly, it's supposed to be 130 pounds, but let's face it, it's not, right? But whatever. That's the measurement of weight on the thing. So the bands, so 130 pounds, and I would go to 170. I hit 170 on my modified bench press and all my different forms of pull downs, and then I hurt myself. 2 weeks off, started over to 130. 6 weeks later, 170. A couple days later, on vacation for 2 weeks. That happened for 17 years. This just last year, I guess it was, or this year, maybe early this year or last year. Because of the COVID, my massage therapist, I get a massage every week. Because of my massage therapist, during COVID, she shut down. And I'd been seeing her for 6.5 years and going to the clinic for 8. So I was just stuck. Finally, I got lucky enough to find another lady. The Chinese women have not only kept me alive, they've changed my body, and they get credit for touching all the children I touched during my coaching over all these years. Anyway, this lady, she did my obliques. I asked her to, and I always ask them, they don't do enough obliques and enough front. You need your chest and your obliques done because everybody wants to bend forward, right? So if you just keep massaging the back, everything gets longer there and the front gets shorter and it's worse and worse. You must do the front so you can stand up straight, and you must do your neck. I like doing like this sometimes, right? Anyway. Or doing a figure 4 on a chair and leaning forward for sciatica. Yeah, you do that. If you have bad sciatica, you do that. Make sure you roll the ankle, right? So your ankle's not right on top of your thigh. Your foot is, and it rolls, so it pulls the tendon tighter. And then lean forward into it as much as you can. Just do it sitting on a chair. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And you hold it maybe 20 seconds, and then maybe even though you're not supposed to bounce, when you're doing this, you want to take it back and forth about 10 times each session in the beginning, because you want to floss the canal through which the nerve passes. So if you have bad sciatica, you can do that. And if you do that 10 times a day, within a week and a half or so, it's going to be so subdued, you'll be just thanking the Lord. I'm telling you now. Anyway, I do that stretch regularly, and I have friends who do that stretch regularly. Very, very excellent. So, Sisyphus. Kicking a stone up the hill, never getting it up. Might as well learn to quit, give up, right? No. 17 years, I went from 130 pounds to 170 pounds. The new massage therapist did my obliques. My shoulders changed. It took a month. Once a week I go 2-hour massage. 1 month later, both my shoulders changed on the same night. It was an amazing thing. Not much after that, I was doing modified bench presses with 220 pound equivalent on my Bowflex. And I was doing I think I was doing 200 pounds on my pull downs. And now that really hurt because where everything's tight, I don't like that on my back. So I've backed it off now. I'm doing my bench presses regularly with 200 pounds on the Bowflex, right? And I'm doing my pull downs with 180. Very, very comfortably. My body changed. And when I mentioned this to a buddy of mine, a week later, he said, he didn't really know me that long, right? But he said to me, there's no way that could happen unless you had frozen shoulders. I said, I did, both sides. Only lucky, my son had a separated shoulder from playing hockey. I took him to a sports medicine chiropractor, one of the best guys I ever met in my life. And he told me my shoulders were frozen, and he worked so hard. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable for a couple of months. And I bumped my weight up I was using my Bowflex one day, and I heard the one shoulder crack like a thunder, right? And so I bumped the weight up because I wanted to crack the other one. Sure enough, the next week I cracked the other one loose. So between the chiropractors and the massage therapists and the doctors who put the pins and rods in my back and the lenses in my eyes and everything, and pretty blessed, man. Oh, and I have a stent. I did have a heart attack a few years ago, but that's a different story, right? So basically I learned how to live with this back issue, man. For the most part. I use the 4 me's of good health. I use marijuana and exercise. I use massage and exercise. I use meditation and exercise. I'm one of the best painkillers and sleep aids ever. Masturbation and exercise. No hard drugs ever. My doctor never gave me any. I never asked for any. I never used them. I'm almost 60. Well, I'm 58 years old. I just turned 58. And other than the fact that I got the central and localized back pain, I could be in the best health of my life. And for anybody that cares to know what the diagnosis is for my original back, previously asymptomatic up until the age of 30. Previously asymptomatic congenital spondylolisthesis with in situ articulation, compounded by spina bifida occulta, and now failed back surgery. And I'm in the, like as I said, forget Sisyphus. My manifesto that I came up with in my weakest moment when I was, preparing to die, examining my life, do your best, never quit, have fun. So that's how I lived through all of this, because I came up with that when I was blind and dying and nobody knew, and I was looking at my life. Do your best, never quit, have fun. And I've been coaching kids soccer and hockey all the way through. I looked after a Saturday morning program where there were probably 20 teams there every Saturday between 9 and noon. I had to go set up at 8:30. Anyway, really loving life. And I guess I should just say one more thing. I coached the kids because my kids played sports and I didn't want to sit around. I wanted to get involved. And then even after my kids were gone, a few years later, I got invited back with a friend of mine to coach his kid. And I haven't looked back. And I recently said to a friend of mine, I said, I thought I was doing this for the kids all these years. I really did. But as it turns out, the rewards are just like beyond belief. The simple fact of the matter is if you coach them for the right reasons and if you coach them with love, you get it back exponentially. And I believe love to be the image of God. My friend told me, once in a while he'll quote a Bible verse to me. He said, in the Bible it says you must be as a child to enter heaven. And it does say it in several places. So, the blessing of the bad back, man. It's taught me to look at my life very closely. It's taught me to love my life. And it's helped me to walk in others' shoes. It's helped me to control my base instincts, my fight or flight response. If I let the pain control my fight or flight response, I die. Therefore, I control it. Automatically, my life is better. Once you're no longer getting upset, your life is better. Closer to God. Prayer shawl. Blessing of the bad back. Thank you, Lord. To the rest of y'all out there, do your best, never quit, have fun. Rock and roll.